Welcome back to RCH Podcast. I'm your host, Joel, and today we have a very interesting topic to discuss.
That's right, Joel. Today we'll be talking about artificial intelligence and its impact on teenage life and education.
AI is becoming increasingly prevalent in our lives, and it's important for us to understand how it's affecting us.
Absolutely. From virtual assistants like Siri and Alexa to personalized learning platforms, AI is changing the way we live and learn.
And with the pandemic forcing us to rely more on technology for education, it's becoming an even bigger part of our lives.
It's true. AI has the potential to revolutionize the way we learn, making it more personalized, interactive, and engaging.
But at the same time, there are concerns about AI's impact on privacy, ethics, and job displacement.
That's right. And as teenagers, it's important for us to be aware of these issues and have a say on how AI is developed and used.
So in this episode, we'll be discussing all these topics and more, and we'll be sharing our own thoughts and experiences with AI.
So stay tuned for an informative and engaging conversation about AI and its impact on teenage life and education.
And if you don't think AI is impacting our lives, this whole intro was created by AI. I'm your host, Evan.
I'm Ikseong.
I'm Joel.
And I'm Dean.
Well, and this particular AI that we use to create this prompt is called ChatGPT, developed and made by OpenAI. And ChatGPT is basically what it is you put in a prompt, right? You input a prompt, you ask something, or you ask it to create something in a creative way, and ChatGPT responds in a written format, either informative or creative, depending on what you ask. And ChatGPT also has a brother AI as well, right, Dean?
Yeah, that's called Dolly, and it's similar to ChatGPT in the way you input a prompt, but instead of giving a written response back, it gives you an image. So the AI can make like images of whatever you type into it, and it's a very cool, interesting way that AI works.
And we've played around with Dolly a little bit, and it only outputs images. If you put words into it and you tell it to make words something, it's like a whole new language at best.
Yeah. Like we tried making a thumbnail for this podcast episode, and it can't even spell a simple word like podcast. We tried like making it say podcast, and it says like podcast or like podcast or
we get like podcasts.
Well, we can't say we didn't try and go all out on the AI theme for this episode. So, how did ChatGPT? So what are what?
Like what?
Can't think of
what experience have you guys had with ChatGPT?
Well, I know. I don't want to say I've used ChatGPT a few times, but I've used ChatGPT a few times, mostly writing poems because I hate poems. I think a lot of people can say that. A lot more can say they don't, but I don't talk to them.
No, I've had ChatGPT. Like I've tried experimenting with writing poems, and if you ask for too many prompts, then it won't do what you say, because it'll try to take into account every single thing you say, and it'll start forgetting the things you said before. So I tried saying like include this figurative language, include that, and not only that, like the creativity is very bland. It doesn't do any like emotional sparks or anything like that.
Yeah, to add on to what Evan just said, my bad. AI tend to be really formal when creating responses, so like it doesn't talk in a very human way, as we know. Like as we're like having conversations, we don't talk like the AI would give out responses, and like I think that's like a really big barrier to like its limit to creativity, because like AI just takes words or sentences or phrases from known sources, while we can come up with new phrases and such and such.
So, another part of AI writing, ChatGPT recently updated their platform so that it couldn't write harmful or derogatory text. And this, they say, it's so that their AI prompts can't be influenced with any bias. And what do they mean by bias? What do you think, Dean?
Well, I feel like bias. I'd seen this one story where I don't remember who made it, but somebody made an AI and just let anybody contribute ideas into the AI, and the AI would learn from those ideas.
Talking about Microsoft?
I don't know who made it, but they the information and the ideas that the people put into this AI were very
Misleading.
mean, bad ideas. So the AI, when it developed itself, became super biased and super mean and harmful to certain groups.
I know that happened to, this is a famous story. Microsoft let their AI, their experimental at the time AI, take over their Twitter account. And, you know, kind of predictably, since it was basing what it would tweet off of what other people tweeted, it became horrifically racist. Like, unbelievably racist. And the account was quickly taken down after.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the only AI that has experienced this before. If an AI isn't properly taken care of, properly maintained, then it's really easy, especially in the early stages of AI, for it to become racist or any kind of bias in general, because it has no other data from before to base itself off of.
And even ChatGPT, there's ways I've heard stories. There's engineers on Reddit that made a prompt that's able to bypass the filter, and they're able to say things to the AI to create prompts that it would not normally create.
And as the AI is developing, companies like OpenAI, they've done a good job of eliminating a lot of those. If we compare responses of ChatGPT right now to responses from before, we can see the huge improvement of ChatGPT in terms of biased responses.
We just got info that the Microsoft AI we were previously talking about that eventually became horrifically racist is apparently was first on Bing. It was a AI that was supposed to be it was apparently supposed to increase variety in search results and automatic recommendations, and Microsoft decided to test it on a Twitter account. Well, we already talked about how that went. So, can AI really learn? Just opinions first. What do you think, Evan?
Well, I think learn is kind of misconceived because it doesn't really think for itself. It takes information from what others put into it and uses their responses to create more human-like responses for others.
Well, yeah. So learning in AI is very different from how humans learn. When we say machine learning or computers learning stuff, it's they're detecting patterns from what we input. They're detecting things from what we input into the computer, while us humans or other living organisms, we can learn by observing our surroundings ourselves, and it's a very different thing, and I think many people aren't aware of the difference.
Yeah, and with AI learning, it's like a misconception, right? The word artificial intelligence, right? That word intelligence, people get hooked up on that. They think it's it could be self-aware and sentient. Well, sentience. That's the key thing AI is missing, right?
Yeah.
It's simulating how we think. But since it's simulating how we think, it can't think better than us, because what it's simulating is its limit.
Mm-hmm.
And so it can only be as smart as the smartest human. And another reason for that is because it's made by humans. So it can only be as smart as the smartest human because it's being made by humans.
Do you guys think the AI could become sentient?
Well, What is the definition of sentient? Is it the ability to think for itself? Is it to be self-aware? Is it to have emotions? What is the definition of sentient?
I have kind of a good example for that. See, like a non-sentient, let's say like an animal, like a dog or something, right? Like a wolf or something. What its thoughts are relative to ours are completely different. It's thinking, okay, I have to go at this speed over this rock, or else I'm gonna faceplant on it. I have to go for that food instead of that food because that one's easier to catch. I have to go into my den before this time because I'm gonna freeze to death. For us, right, instead of just thinking, oh, food, warmth, shelter, we're thinking, I'm really hungry. I could eat this sandwich in my hand, but that burrito looks really good. I think I might go over there and eat that. So sentience is really kind of just self-choice beyond survival, beyond, I don't know, beyond natural instincts.
Yeah, AI can be made to make those kind of choices that humans would make. So wouldn't that make it, or is your argument being it would seem like it's sentient rather than not
Right.
actually?
It would simulate sentience, but it would get to a point where if someone were to stop inputting information, like it would have to get constant updates because that's the brain. Think of a computer, think of a supercomputer getting constant software updates. You got something to say, D?
Yeah, so you're saying that like the brain is always having stuff being inputted into it. What if you would hook up an AI, like a computer, with a camera and like a microphone, so that way it can feel its surroundings? Do you think it could learn and update itself in that way?
Well, it's missing. You have a camera and a microphone, right? So it can hear and it can see, but it also can't move, and it can't taste, and it also
Can't feel.
yeah, it can't feel. And so those are like huge aspects that we make our decisions on. Hearing and sight, like admittedly, are the biggest senses for the body. But without all the rest, right, it would be so much harder to make decisions in life. And so out of the,
Also, adding to what Joel's saying, even if it had sensors and it had cameras, it would still need like a partner program that could decipher what it's seeing or what it's hearing into something that the AI can
process.
respond to. Yeah. So I don't think AI by itself can interpret those kind of things unless it had like a partner or a brother program to go along with it. Then maybe it may be able to observe its surroundings and think for itself.
And also, just like one last thing on this topic, our brains, like, to be sentient, right? Our brains are slow. Comparatively, computers are really fast, like they multitask everything. But in this case, it's a disadvantage to them because to be really sentient, it's taking it slow and making your choices based off of desires and wants rather than needs and survival. Whereas you're going so fast, you're multitasking all these things. You don't really have time to know what your wants and desires are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next topic, how does AI relate to school?
We just touched on this. So AI is being, most famously, recently, ChatGPT has blown up in use for
Cheating scandals.
Yeah, cheating, writing essays for college students. 2020 to 2022 throughout the pandemic definitely used a lot, and only recently has there been a counter AI to catch plagiarism and all that.
Yeah, and this counter AI is going to be really useful because like I've been like just looking around in my classes, and there's been a couple of people I've seen who were literally just copy and pasting off of ChatGPT just straight into their assignments, and just like not learning anything and just having ChatGPT doing all the work. And I've actually seen my teachers even use the counter AI. Like one of them showed me how it works, where he has like this little program and tells him how much of the percent it looks like was AI generated.
And like those kind of things are gonna be more developed as AI is more developed, because there needs to be a counter to there needs to be a strong counter to a strong AI if we want to avoid problems like this again in the future. And what the interesting thing here is that there's been counter AIs to counter the counter AI, like changing up like the words. Like you can get like
You can get prompts from like OpenAI, ChatGPT, and then just put it into another paraphrasing bot that completely bypasses all plagiarism. So
that's like, I feel like that it's gonna be a different kind of like competition between like companies that make AIs.
but one thing I've noted about ChatGPT is that it doesn't know. I tried putting in the calculus problem, like just for fun, and it was like some antiderivative I couldn't solve. So, what it put was like the completely wrong. I put like, what is the integral of e to ln of x? I don't remember, but it was like some really complicated antiderivative, and it put like 1/2 x minus 1 squared. I'm like, how is this the? And it was like completely wrong, and that's what it's interesting, because it only really knows what people put into it and needs an answer for it first.
And so there are limitations to AI, though, at least for now. AI, as we touched on limitations before, they can only be as smart as we make them to be, and we can only make them as smart as us, because we're only as smart as us. And you can say, oh well, there's like self-learning AIs. Well,
Not really.
kinda. They have the intelligence of a toddler. I've only seen this on like 2 sources, so you can fact check this. Those little android things that like walk on 2 legs and they say they're AI, right? Beforehand, they just put in a little chip and it just tells it what to say. And that just like proves kinda self-learning, but they're self-learning based on what people put into it. You have to put code or hardware or something into it.
And like another limitation of AI was like the ChatGPT filter, where it's keeping certain stuff that it's putting out, and that could be like another major thing that's preventing AI from, or humans from getting information out of the AIs.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important thing that needs to be done too. I think most of the AIs that will be available to public, if not all, is there has to be a filter, or like AI knows so much already that if there's no filter, like if it gets into the wrong hands, if like someone uses the information for a bad purpose, they can get a lot of information on their hands through AI. So I think updating and maintaining that filter constantly is a really important aspect of AI.
I mean, talking about what AI knows, like, I've also tried telling it to give like a quote from a book or like from a source, like say Bless Me Ultima, right? You give a quote from Bless Me Ultima. It can't. It just makes up some random quote and it makes it seem like it's from the book. It makes it really convincing, yet it's not actually from the book.
And since we've already touched on this, another thing about AI is job replacement, which I kind of think isn't that much of a threat right now, since most of the jobs that people are saying AI are going to replace, we already have computers doing anyway. And so there's like I don't understand why people are saying, oh, they're going to replace it with AI, when there's no benefit in just not using normal computers. And there's also jobs where they're saying AI will replace people, which I don't think so, because for an AI to have any doing any physical job, it would need like robotical things that can manipulate, which create hazards, which it's just like a whole safety thing and a sanitation thing.
And we've even seen some jobs be replaced, even though it be a simple job like vacuuming. We've seen like the Roomba vacuum robot, which has pathway, like using sensors to pathway itself around someone's house and then know what times of day to vacuum and where they're supposed to vacuum. But it still needs input from the human, like telling it certain informations.
Yeah.
But that is an example of it getting rid of a job and making life for humans a little bit easier.
Yeah, and going back to like efficiency with replacing AI with humans, there are jobs that would be more efficient if you replace AI with humans, such as like truck driving or like transportation. Like AI could do that kind of stuff, but as another example that it would not be more efficient, like for example like ice cream trucks, like AI, although it's a relatively easy job, it's not more efficient to have a computer or AI in there doing it for the person, because there's just no point in it.
You kept saying replacing AI with people, but I got what you meant. Yeah, with truck driving, that's already a thing. Have you seen those automatic semi trucks that the U.S. government recently greenlit to go onto public roads? Yeah, I haven't seen one on the road yet, but I've seen. They're like these little, like low to the road charging stations. Yeah, they're electric too, by the way. At least, I think so. I don't know. Maybe they're just weird parking spots for them. But I've seen the spots where they go next to businesses, and it just like freaked me out. I'm like, I mean, I guess it'll take more people off the road, but like, come on. And then also, have you seen that drone delivery service that's popping up in cities? Yeah, we saw that like a decade ago. We're like, that's not gonna happen. Like, it's so loud. And then this zip line
I've seen that.
Comes in and makes it like realistic, and companies just swarm in and they're like, yes, I'll buy your entire stock. And it's like, there's a lot of exciting things with that. Like those two things. The semi-truck kind of scary. The drone service, awesome. Like, that is incredible. But it's like, still at the same time, both of them are not really AI. Like, they're still only learning based off of what you put into them, and that is just the software put into the company. But you know, it's still pretty cool. Yeah.
But talking about self-driving cars, that brings up the question of ethics, as in like, say there's a situation and you either have to save the passenger or the person in front of you. What would it choose?
Yeah, that's true. Like, you know how computers can't handle the trolley problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like morals and ethics is something that only like the human brain, as of now, like AI, I don't think AI could ever solve this problem. Even humans can't solve this problem because they have to be in that situation themselves. But like, that situation, if they're in that situation, humans, they rely on their emotions, they rely on their instincts, but AI, they don't have any of that. So I don't know what the AI would do.
We just put the trolley problem in, solved the trolley problem into ChatGPT, and it just told us what the trolley problem was. It doesn't even know how.
Well, reading further,
it says the better idea is to switch the lever and kill the one person and save the 5. But never mind. No, it says there is just no clear right or wrong answer to the trolley problem because it's based off of the ethics of inaction or killing a person. And that actually brings up another problem, right? If these self-driving cars get into a car crash with a person-driven car, whose fault is it?
Well, that's a good question.
That's why they're like putting cameras all over their self-driving cars, so they have every angle to know what happened with the self-driving car, which I like. Well, I just don't like being the beta tester.
If a self-driving car hits the person-driven car, then it's the self-driving car's problem. But if it's the human car that hits the self-driving car, then it's the human car's problem.
I would assume that the person would be blamed first, because of how good the computers are right now.
I disagree because
You would disagree?
everyone's just kind of giving AI flack, like AI-driven cars. After Tesla, they they literally beta tested their like autonomous pilot mode, and it went horribly. If you look it up, there were tons of incidents where the calculations in the self-driving thing would have like little short circuit, and it would just veer the car to the left. Even a relative of mine, like off a bridge, they survived, but
So like, going onto like other jobs that it could potentially replace, I think one of the major ones will be computer scientists, because AI knows how to code now. Like they're only gonna get better.
I don't think we're gonna let them be computer scientists, even if they're better than it. Enough movies have shown us what happens when we let AI create other AI. Like that's gonna stay a human job, in my opinion.
You think so?
Yeah,
I believe
because that's where you get to the point where AI could turn against us. As soon as AI isn't made by people and is made by other AI, then that's the point where AI could turn against us.
I feel like AI developers won't be replaced.
Right.
Of course, you need people to maintain them. You need people to like watch over them. But I feel like those small scale software developers, like the small games and the small online games you find on the computer, I think they might be replaced by AI because those aren't very difficult to create. It's just the logistics of how to create them.
All right. Well, I think we should wrap this up. Dean, what are our conclusions today? Is AI replacing everything we know and making our French toast at home?
Currently, AI is advancing at rapid paces, but I don't think we're at a certain percentage where everything will be taken over just by AI. We still have a long way to go in terms of being fully AI-driven society.
All right. Outro. Dan 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 dan.
Oh, remember to follow us on Instagram at the RCHS Podcast. And if you go to Rancho, if you happen to be a student at Rancho Cucamonga High School, we need more members. And if you are interested, please come to our Monday meetings at B103 at 3:30 to 4:30. And
Make sure to join our mind at RPC 2223. Yeah.
we'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.
Now intro.